I want to give my unfiltered thoughts on what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin price with this Bitcoin spot ETF. This is a huge week coming up. So there's two things to lay the groundwork for this video. Number one, there's this range many of you are very well aware of that I'm watching on the price charts. Just in regards to the next bull market, the bull cycle, Bitcoin breaking the bull market doors. That is this lower high Fibonacci retracement. It's a technical move on the macro. It is around $48,000 at the 618 line, up to $57,000 at the 786 line. Now, that 618 line, I just want to give you an idea. Prior to the Bitcoin halving, that 618 line around $47,000 is massive resistance. The reason I say that is because the bull market doors in previous cycles, for instance, last cycle, pre-Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin made a really nice run up to the 618 line. That was around 13,000. The halving before that, 2016 halving, pre-halving, Bitcoin made a really nice move out of the bear market to the 618 line. Right then it was around $800, right? So $800 pre-Bitcoin halving. Then the next cycle, $13,000 pre-Bitcoin halving. Each time it fell after hitting those levels. Right now, this cycle around, that level is around $48,000. So that's number one, the technical analysis of it all, because I think it's very important. Bitcoin hasn't even made the move to that area pre-Bitcoin halving. So that move from a historical perspective is normal. If Bitcoin did that, put aside Bitcoin spot ETF. Okay, now let's talk about the Bitcoin spot ETF. I just saw somebody posted on X an estimation, I think $3.5 billion of inflow for the Bitcoin spot ETF in the first week. At today's prices, it is around 79,000 Bitcoin. Imagine $79,000 Bitcoin being scooped up. And I saw somebody kind of did the math. This could equate to around a $61,000 Bitcoin. So there's this premise, there's this case that Bitcoin, off of this week's news, the approval and the inflow of, capital scooping up BTC, it could achieve $61,000 Bitcoin. So now we have this piece of data in play with that initial lower high Fibonacci resistance, right? 47,000 to 58,000. I first want to say, I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I think is going to happen. I want to say, if Bitcoin breaks, first off, if Bitcoin breaks nicely above the 618 line at 48,000, that's a big move. That's something it really has not done. But if it actually breaks above that line and approaches the 786 at $57,000 pre-Bitcoin halving, and then it breaks above $57,000, this is massive. This is absolutely massive for Bitcoin, right? We have the short-term symmetrical triangle, shorter-term symmetrical triangle we've been talking about. It's a $50,000 target. I think that is a very normal move for Bitcoin with or without the Bitcoin spot ETF. I think that's an area that Bitcoin price could achieve very easily this week in the coming days, especially off of an approval, maybe a pump off of the approval. But I want to just mention, if it breaks those bull market doors, if it breaks at 786 at 57,000, it's game changer. Now, let me just put this out there. And number one, I could be way wrong. And number two, if I'm wrong, you feel free to come back and roast me and be like, dude, you were wrong. Bitcoin just absolutely pumped. It demolished the bull market doors. Bitcoin's doing something it's never done. I want it to do that. I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. But I have to just kind of, when I do these videos, I like to just really try and be as open about what I'm thinking as possible. I never expect anything, right? So I'm anticipating it could happen. Bitcoin could break through $60,000 and do something it hasn't done in previous cycles. But at the same time, when I really start thinking about it, when I really start visualizing the news coming out, right? When I start visualizing it, I can't help but think that there is going to be so much volatility. The market, and with all the speculation and all of even the leverage longs probably trying to time this and prepare, remember, this is such an early space. I know it seems so big to you and I. We spend so much time here. This is such an early space, and it's just so open for manipulation. And I think off of Bitcoin spot ETF approval, and there's no guarantees it's going to be approved. I'm fairly confident it's going to be. It would be a massive mistake on the SEC's part. There would be so many lawsuits if it didn't get approved. But if it gets approved, I think there's going to be pump to upside, crash back down. I think it's just going to be an insane roller coaster. And it's going to be a very volatile, sideways almost trend. But we're talking, when I say sideways, like pump to the upside, crash back to the downside. I really think it's just such a suitable setup for these markets. Leverage longs getting liquidated as they try and time the pump off of the news, crashing back down. Shorts come into play. They get liquidated as it pumps right back off of some type of short-term support. Up and down volatility. And all the while, and I think this is what's important to me as a macro investor, the Bitcoin spot ETF, this whole era and all of this speculation and anticipation, it's going to be over soon. And we're going to enter kind of this new dynamic, this new realm of crypto where everybody's not talking about it all the time. This is going to be in the past, and we're going to forget about this. And it's going to be right back to the technicals. It's going to be right back to the technical analysis, the charts. And that's what matters for me as a macro investor, for whether you're if you're a Bitcoin only person, whether you're a Bitcoin and altcoin person, whether you're an only altcoin person, the technicals and even the Bitcoin chart, the roadmap of crypto cycles is really, if you're a macro person, is really all that matters. So for me, I think there's going to be a ton of volatility. I think at the end of the day, I would be so surprised if Bitcoin manages to break the bull market doors pre-Bitcoin halving. I will be so excited. I will be so hype, but I will be so surprised. I really think when the question is it different this time? Is the Bitcoin spot ETF going to launch crypto and Bitcoin into an earlier bull market, meaning all this happening pre-Bitcoin halving? That's what makes it different. If Bitcoin breaks these bull market doors, breaks through $57,000 at the 786 line, that will be something that has never happened. It will be so bullish. But on the flip side, if it's not different this time, and then the news comes out, there's crazy volatility, maybe a pump into the Fibonacci area somewhere up to 55,000, and then it cools off and starts falling, consolidating, it will be just like every other cycle, and we will learn another lesson that it wasn't different this time. And Bitcoin and crypto, they really don't care about anything other than respecting the 4-year cycles and respecting really the charts. And that's why the charts have been so helpful for me, is because it has been so consistent, and the data that is there historically, it's not definite that it's going to repeat, but the data has just been so on point in terms of allowing me personally to be able to anticipate, well, what's going to happen in this situation? Will it do something different this time? And almost like clockwork, it just hasn't really done anything different. This bear cycle that we just survived has been almost exactly like the previous bear cycles, even from a timeline perspective, even from a percentage to the downside perspective. Now the exit out of the bear into the bull and this pivot that we're in right now is almost identical to all of the previous cycles. So I'm trying to just wait to see what Bitcoin does with this Fibonacci range. Again, $48,000 to $57,000. The data is there. $61,000 based off of speculation on what this Bitcoin ETF could do for Bitcoin. That's there. Let's see if it happens. I will be so excited if it happens. It will be so fun doing a video if Bitcoin's breaking the bull market doors truly before the Bitcoin halving. But I just want to put it out there. I will be so surprised. So that's just my unfiltered thoughts, everybody. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just kind of expressing to you what I'm thinking. I could be way wrong about the Fibonacci resistance. And I think in this case, I wouldn't mind being wrong at all. But I wanted to just give some thoughts out there as we go into this new week. Let me know your thoughts, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.